Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Once again, working on the 88 Jeep Wrangler. Today, the problem we've got: crank no start. How do we diagnose this? Well, broadly speaking, for an internal combustion engine to run, we need three things. We need air, we need fuel, we need spark. Yeah, we need compression and spark at the right time, and yeah, I suppose there are some sub-bullet points to that, but really we need air, fuel, and spark. Air comes in here, and really it's the least likely to be our problem. And when I say air, we have to have air going in, but we also have to have air going out. So if like a catalytic converter is plugged or something like that, it won't run. Though it will run until the back pressure builds up and stops it from being able to breathe. So we can make sure that we've got, an air filter that isn't completely plugged, things like that. But if I just take this off and crank it again, we know it's drawing air. And I could put my hand here and feel that it's getting air. I know that it's getting air. So in this case, it's probably fuel or spark. We can choose which one to attack first as we diagnose. In this case, I would choose to test fuel first because, well, I just changed the fuel pump in this. So I go, okay, well, it's probably something wrong with the fuel pump. It's not doing its thing. How do we go about doing that? In some vehicles, it's extremely easy. Now, if I come down here, I've got the connector, and I know where it's at because, like I said, I just had this pump out. So I just disconnected this from the unit that's in the tank. And I've already looked at the wiring diagram, and I know that the orange here is the power to the fuel pump. So the first thing we can do is we can make sure that the fuel pump is getting power. I've got the key on, so the pump should be running. I can just take my meter here and we can connect the ground to here, and you can see I am getting 12 volts, so it should be sending power to the pump. I could also apply 12 volts to the pump itself and make sure it runs by connecting to the other half of that plug. I know that it worked because, like I said, I just changed this, and when I had the tank on the ground, I gave it 12 volts and it was pumping fuel. So we know that it is getting power to the pump. This isn't always super easy to get to though, so let's go up underneath the hood and see if there's some other ways that we can diagnose this without having to get down to this connector. If we take a look at the schematic for this, we've got this fusible link that comes in, and in fact I can check the fusible link power at D15, and I'll show you what that means here in just a moment. But the power comes over to our fuel pump relay, and then the coil side comes across here to the key. So when the key is on, it goes through the coil and it goes into the ECU to tell it to run. But the important thing is when we turn the key on, it energizes the coil, which sends power from that fusible link down to this connection point, which I can measure at D16, and that goes over to the fuel pump and then to ground. So when I turn the key on, it should energize this. So with the key off, this should be off, and this should be on. And with the key on, this should stay on, and this should come on. So D16 and D15. I come back into the connector described. Diagnostic connector is D1, and this is D2. D1 is a little strange. It starts with 1 down here at the lower right and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And D2 we may look at as well. It numbers the other way, like you read a book. But the important thing here is 5 and 6 were the ones we're looking at. And this diagnostic connector is right here. So this is D1 and this is D2. So 5 and 6 are the upper left here. 5 is connected to the fusible link, which is actually right down there. and then 6 goes to the pump. Alright, the key is right now off, so let's hook this to a known good ground. And then up here, 5 was our fusible link. And we've got 12.7 volts, so the fusible link is good. Fuel pump relay output should be off, and it is. The relay itself is right there. So now let's go turn the key on. And the key on, you can see we've got 12 volts. So this is sending voltage out here, and we're measuring it there. It's also worth noting that when this turns on, it powers the fuel pump, but it also powers the fuel injector. Now the injector itself comes into the ECU, and it probably connects to ground in pulses in order to turn this on. So it would be on, it will have power here, but it won't be connected to ground. And every time the engine, or every time the ECU wants it to spray, it will connect this to ground for a short period of time. Another thing we could do is we could disconnect this fuel line and see if we've got fuel coming out. Even better would be to hook a pressure meter here and find out what the pressure is. But this is our inlet for fuel. If I get really close, I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it with my ear, but I'll put the camera down there. We'll see if we can hear it. I can hear fuel gurgling through there, so it is cycling fuel through it. You can also oftentimes hear the fuel pump running in the back of the vehicle, so if you get close to it, you might be able to hear it. So no matter how we look at it, whether it's power or sound or whatever, I know that that fuel pump is getting power, and it appears to be at least circulating fuel up here. So it's unlikely that this is a fuel problem. Not saying that it isn't, but it's less likely. Now we could check pressure again to see that that's happening, but I'm going to right now kind of rule out fuel, and let's see if we've got spark. If we've got spark, we can come back and then we can go, okay, it's probably a fuel problem. To check for spark, we can pull off the spark plug wire and crank it, or in this case, what's a little easier is I can just pull the coil wire. So I get spark out of the coil. The ignition control module on this is actually right back behind it. It's attached to the back of the coil, but I can just take this coil wire and I can see if this gets spark. You can't always do that on all vehicles, so sometimes just pulling a plug wire is a little bit easier. What I'm going to do is get a screwdriver and we're going to stick it down in there and put it near something that would be a good ground. This spot here would be good, this spot here would be good, and then we'll crank it to see if we get spark. Now the challenge here is I'm by myself. Yeah, there's a bunch of noise because the neighbor across the street is yet again mowing his lawn, lots of cars driving by, whatever. But I'm doing this by myself and I need to be able to do some diagnostics. So the question is, how do I turn the key, basically crank the starter, while I also am up here doing this and doing it by myself? Well, on this one, it's nice and easy. Right down there is the starter solenoid. A little hard to see. Let's see if I can zoom in for you. There's the starter solenoid. The red wire is the power from the battery, and that green wire is the signal to tell it to engage. So if I walk up that signal, it actually comes up through this loom here, comes out right here. So nicely on this, I can disconnect this, and what happens when we turn the key to start, it gives power right here. So I can just disconnect and I can give power right there. That'll send power down to the solenoid and engage it. So I can just rig something up right here that will enable this starter. So I'm going to go grab my weather pack stuff and make a quick jumper. This is my weather pack set. I just took one of the ends here and crimped it onto a wire. I don't need a shell because the reality is I'm just going to be working underneath the hood here. It doesn't need to lock on, it doesn't need to be really protected. So I'm going to take this and put it into that shell down there. We'll make sure the key's in the run position. If I apply power to this, it will engage the solenoid. So I'm just going to put this on the positive battery terminal. We'll verify that this works. Okay, so we can crank. Now let's check for spark. I'm getting no spark at all. Alright, so a recap. We're getting air. Fuel pump has power over here. I can hear it running here. You can actually hear it at the pump. So it's almost certainly not fuel. We're not getting spark, so it is spark related. So we'll run this backward. Why would we not be getting spark? Well, there are a few different reasons we might not. First, if the timing chain or something in here is broken, and basically that is not rotating, then therefore the rotor in here would not rotate, and we would not get spark. Another reason is the coil could be bad, or the ignition control module could be bad. So I'm actually going to trace backward on this one. Now we could test the coil with a meter. We could test the primary and secondary and see what the resistance is of them, see if it's dead shorted or open. But on this one, it's really, really easy. If we look right here, see that orange wire right? See this orange wire right here? Not the lower one, that's actually yellow, but the orange one up there. That is the signal from the ECU, so it sends pulses, and every time it sends a pulse, it tells the ignition control module to fire, which signals the coil to fire, which sends power down here to the distributor. So what I can do is I can actually, well, I mean, we could check power at that yellow one, make sure we're getting power to the coil. Not a bad idea. But we can test that orange and black to see if we're actually getting pulses into the ignition control module telling it to spark. This is where a meter will not help. And back when this was built in the 80s, the tool to measure that would have been really expensive, probably a dealer-only item or maybe some high-end shops. But in 2025, the tools to test that you can buy online for probably about 30 bucks. I guess before we go get that tool, we can at least verify that the coil is getting power. So I pulled this out here. Again, that yellow is the power, and I could show you that on the schematic. We've got power, ground, and tack output. Go into that connector, and you can see we've got 12 volts. So we've got battery voltage to the coil. So it's at least getting power. Doesn't mean the coil itself is good, but it means that it has power. It's unlikely that that will go bad as long as, you know, nothing has happened to the wiring in the engine compartment since it was running. So it's worth checking, but it's very rare that that would be the problem. Again, this is weather pack, so just like I did for the starter, we're going to create one. This is a 2-position socket, but it really only has one connector in there. So I'm going to make another lead. We can come out of here and we'll go to our oscilloscope. All right, I've run another wire from it. And just a bare lead here. I've got this circuit probe, often also called a power probe, though I think that's a brand name, that we can use. These ones are reasonably inexpensive. These probably about 70, 80 bucks. I think you can get them maybe as cheap as about 40 or 50. And we can test with it. Change the mode on this, basically to an oscilloscope mode. Make sure your key is on. I have the probe's ground lead grounded. Then we'll connect this probe to here, and then I'm going to crank the starter. Again, this is a lot easier if you have another person. It's also easier if you're not trying to video it. It's also way easier to hear if you don't have a mower running right across the street. I apologize for that, but I got to get this done while the light's going, and I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. He wants to get his lawn mowed for the 12th time this week while he has light. You can see we've got a little bit. I don't know exactly how easy it was to see, but it's got a max and a min here. The max was somewhere maybe around a volt. But the line itself, it should be these really nice square peaks every time it wants to fire, and I did not see that. It looked actually really ugly to me. This probe, the problem here is I can't really take a snapshot or do any of that. It's a little bit difficult to do diagnostics, especially if you want to look at it after you've run the cycle, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I get the same thing here that I was getting on the cheap scope. We get some noise and maybe it flutters around up to maybe a volt, but we're not getting a nice strong signal. And that is not good. That tells me the ECU is not giving the output that it's supposed to. If I had had signal there but no spark, it would almost certainly mean that the ignition control module right there is bad, either it or the coil. And in fact, I think on this, that's how it comes as a pair. Even if not, I would change the ignition control module first. Coils just don't go bad that often. It looks though like I've got an ECU failure on this, which is almost the worst case scenario of what it could have been when I started this process. So that's all I got for you today. Basically, when you've got a crank no start, air, fuel, spark. Those are the three things that you need. I always check air first because it's rare that it's it. Then either choose fuel or spark, whichever you feel like checking, whichever often is easiest to check, and go through process of elimination, work backward until you find something that isn't behaving the way it's supposed to. And in this case, no signal out of the ECU means almost certainly a bad ECU. Thanks for watching.